Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sharon D. Johnson. How are you? Closing out this November. November is Buy From a Black Woman Awareness Month, and I am closing it out, focusing on 3 of my favorite Black women-owned makeup brands, makeup lines. And so the first one I want to focus on, what I have on my face, is Mented. You might remember from my previous video, I had their Everyday eyeshadow palette on. And now I have on their Every Night shadow palette, which was released a few weeks ago for the holidays. So I'll make this quick since I have 2 other lines to talk about. So the Every Night eyeshadow palette, lovely matte black, gold stars and things. It's really a gorgeous palette. Hold it up this way so I don't blind you with the mirror. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shimmers and 5 mattes. Each shadow is named after KJ and Amanda's favorite locations around the city. So we've got Chicago, we've got Miami, Los Angeles, Atlanta, New Orleans. And then the mattes on the bottom are Houston, Philly, Harlem, Atlanta, and Brooklyn. And so what I have on my eyes, the colors I have in my eyes are, so I went my transition shade. I went in with Atlanta as the transition shade and deepened the crease with it. Then on my outer corners and up toward the crease, I went in with, what's the black one? Brooklyn. Went in with Brooklyn. Then in the center of my lid, of course, I had to do Las Vegas, this lovely cranberry colored shimmer. And I have hooded eyes, so I went above the lid into right under the brow bone with it. And then the inner third of my lid, I went in with Los Angeles. And then in the corner, I put a little Miami in the corner. And then on my face, I don't like foundation. So what I do is I use their fabulous bronzers. I use Beach Bum all over my face. And if I can open it, I'll show you. So this is Beach Bum. And so I just went all over my face with Beach Bum as if it were a pressed powder. Just took a brush and brushed it, you know, all over my face. Then for a little contour, I went in with this bronzer, this lovely Yacht Life, which has a little shimmer in it. So Yacht Life. Gave myself just a little contour, very subtle. Didn't want to go too hard. Then for did a little highlighter down my nose and on top of the cheekbone. I actually used from the Every Night eyeshadow palette. I actually used Miami for that. So I used Miami as a highlighter. So highlight there, little on the chin, a little above the Cupid's bow. So it's very subtle, but you can see the effect. Oh, I forgot. Underneath my brow bone, I used Houston, this creamy color right here, under the brow bone. So, and then for my blush, I used Clay Too Much. Don't know if you can see that. Clay Too Much. So it's literally a reddish brown clay color on the apples of my cheeks. Then for my lips, I went in with something else they came out with this year, their liquid matte lip colors. And this one is in the Black or the Berry. Hope you can see that. So I just went all over my lip. I love these because they apply like powdery mattes. So if you can see this on my hand, it's very smooth and it goes on powder soft. It doesn't go on liquidy and then sucks the life out of your lips as it dries down. It goes on like a powder, very smooth. And then just in the center, I used one of their lip glosses. This is #1 Crayon. Hopefully it's right side up. And I'll swatch that. So there's #1 Crayon, and there's Black of the Berry. So the #1 Crayon is their gloss. Black of the Berry is their liquid matte lip color. So I just did #1 Crayon a little in the center, just to give it a little something, something. And so that's my Mented face. So these are most of the things that I bought during quarantine, during this COVID shutdown. Stay out of the stores as much as you can. So this Every Night eyeshadow palette and these beautiful bronzers are some of my recent purchases from them, as well as this liquid lipstick. I have a couple of other of their liquid lips, but just wanted to give you a Mented face, #1 Crayon lip gloss, Black of the Berry liquid matte lipstick, Every Night eyeshadow palette on my eyes, Beach Bum bronzer all over my face like a face powder, and then Yacht Life bronzer as a contour, and Clay Too Much blush. All right, and so that is my Mented face. They are still, I guess, tomorrow is November 30th, the last day of the month, the last day of Buy From a Black Woman Awareness Month, and it's Cyber Monday, so you can probably still get some good holiday deals, support Black women-owned businesses, small businesses, and yeah, this is Mented. So the next Black woman-owned business I want to focus on is the Lip Bar. I had the pleasure of working with the Lip Bar at BeautyCon in 2019. I'd been a fan of theirs for a couple of years, of course, had their Boss Lady liquid lip. And so it was really fun to be able to work with them at BeautyCon last year, and got a few goodies since then, of course. Have been a regular supporter of the business. And so let's go through what's on my face from the Lip Bar. First of all, their latest release, this fabulous caffeine concealer. I have the 400 category. So they make makeup easy by putting it in categories. So you're either the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So 4 o'clock is the cinnamon family, and I am a golden cinnamon, so I'm on the yellow side of cinnamon as opposed to the redder side of cinnamon. And this is just a perfect concealer. I like to conceal, not brighten my under eyes. And so this is perfect because it is my natural skin tone. It's not brightening, it just covers my darker areas under my eyes. Love this, just love it. So I just dab some on. I'm gonna swatch it for you just so you can see. Very creamy. You can see that. And yes, my hands are darker than my face, so that's why it looks more pale on my hands. But very creamy, so I just dab some on, probably about 5 or 6 dots. Let it sit for a little bit, then use my finger to smooth it. Add a little more if I need, but I love it. And when I take a photo, there's no white flash. I hate that. I won't mention any names of other concealers, but this is a fabulous, fabulous concealer. So this is, again, it's 400. It's the cinnamon group. I'm sorry, 400, 4 o'clock It's the cinnamon group. And I believe they have all 6 o'clocks on the website for you to choose from. So you pick which group is closest to what you want to do with your concealers. And, you know, people buy all kinds of shades because they use it to contour. They use it for all kinds of things. I just like concealer to conceal. And so this is clutch. I love it, love it. So after I went in with that under my eyes, I don't put foundation on, but I do use powder. But instead of powder, what I used is I got this last year, actually when I worked with them at BeautyCon. They gave us 3 products. So they gave me one of these in another shade family, and then I ordered this one because I want to use the bronzer all over instead of as a bronzer. And so this is the Girls Night palette. So this is technically, I think, the 3 o'clock category. Girls Night, Fresh Glow Bronzer and Blush Duo. And so the bronzer is called Girl Talk, and the highlighter blush is called Champagne. And so I just let me open it, show you. So this is Girl Talk. And so I just, again, took a face powder brush, dusted it in here, and then dusted the bronzer all over my face. So that's what you see all over my face. And that was just the base for my face. And then I used the highlighter. Hopefully you can see the color accurately. It's a orangey bronze, I would call it. And so I used this Champagne highlighter all over my eyelid. I just put it all over my eyelid as my eye color. And I also used it to highlight my cheek area and a little highlight down my nose, as you see. And then what I did was this is an early purchase. Was this one of my first purchases, maybe? I know it was Boss Lady. I think I bought this early on. This is Night Owl, their black lipstick. So I just took a little on my pinky and just deepened the outer corner a little bit of my eyes, if you can see that. You see it's a little darker around there. So I just used Night Owl to deepen the outer corner of my eyes. And then I used this lovely, it's a bronzy, coppery lipstick. This is Conceited. And I used Conceited to just deepen the highlighter blush here, Champagne. I just took some Conceited on my finger and tapped it right on the apples to just give it a little more richness right there as my blush. And then I went in with Island Ting eyeliner. You can see that. And it's an electric blue. I know that looks a little dirty, sorry. It's an electric blue. I'll swatch it so you can see. That's a bad swatch. Let's do it again. I need to sharpen it, that's why. But if you can see that. But because I have a little black from the corner, it's just a hint of blue, and it's got a little of the black Night Owl on it, so it's not as bright. I'll insert a photo of myself with Island Ting, just more bold without any other color. But so Island Ting with a little bit of the Night Owl that made it a little deeper. I just put that on my lower waterline. And then on my lips, no, not Boss Lady. This is my most recent purchase. This is another one of their glosses, Vixen. I've been waiting for Vixen. It had been out of stock. And I'm like, where's Vixen? I love red lip. I love a red lip. I have so many red lip colors and different lines, and none of them are the same. So I don't feel bad. But yes, Vixen is a beautiful, beautiful red lip gloss. That's what I have on my lips. No lip liner, just the lip gloss. Their lip gloss formula is so fabulous because it's thick and creamy, and you really only need one coat, and it has staying power. And so there you go. There's Vixen on my hand, Vixen on my lips. And I love it. I just love it. What I also did buy during this whole COVID situation, the Lip Bar had done some partnerships during the whole election season, and Michelle Obama actually was promoting this special edition of Boss Lady called Boss Voter. And if you can see the box, it's a special edition box that says vote. So of course I had to buy it. I already have Boss Lady, but you know, I've had it for a couple of years. I bought it in 2018. And so it's probably time to throw that one out, but I've got my backup Boss Lady and I've got the commemorative box. So I was very happy to buy that. So that's just a few of my more recent purchases from the Lip Bar. My Lip Bar face, I love it. This concealer is fabulous. And with these two, just these two, bronzer and highlighter, you know, you can do your whole face. And that's why I love this. I love this. And again, because the bronzer is close to my skin tone, I really use it as an all-over powder. Because again, foundation just doesn't agree with my face. I feel itchy. And by the end of the day, my pores are like screaming. They're like gaping, screaming, get this crap off my face. So I just prefer powder. My skin is normal, I think, but in those areas, my forehead, you know, I've got a Sade forehead. And I can get shiny, of course, chin, T-zone, and the broader forehead. And so particularly when I was teaching, I would like to put powder on because under those horrible fluorescent lights in the classroom, you know, you're beaming. So I just always like to matte that down with some powder rather than full-on foundation. And so for me, you know, this is beat enough. If I were in Pat McGrath's hands, she would probably hook me up a little more. We'll talk about Pat McGrath next. Here I am. Here's the Lip Bar. See you soon. Okay, I'm back with my Pat McGrath face. So let me just get right into it. I dusted this, her loose powder all over my face. This is medium 3. Again, dusted it all over my face. Then I dug into this, one of her new holiday quads. This is Interstellar Icon. I also have Iconic Illumination from last year's holiday launch, but this is Interstellar Icon is the one with the lovely blue. The colors are Golden Polaris, Hypnotique, Blue Blood, and Divine Dahlia. And so I went into my crease with with Blue Blood. Then of course on my lid, I've got Hypnotique, the blue color. Then on the inner third of my lid, Golden Polaris. No, I'm wrong, sorry. Golden Polaris is in the corners. And Divine Dahlia is on the inner third. So use the whole quad. I was going to use a matte for my transition, but didn't bother. These blend well, even though these are her special shades. They blend really well. So that's what's all over my eyes. Then for my cheeks, I went into her Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction palette. And so I did a little contour with this Extreme Aubergine, just a little bit to contour. Went in with Extreme Aubergine, and to highlight, I used, what are these two? I used Skin Show Divine Glow and Astro Luna Gold. So that's Skin Show Divine Glow, Astro Luna Gold. Used that to highlight. And then as my blush, I went into this lovely Celestial Divinity palette. And I used Saturnalia and Corruption to blush. So those are the two reds. So this is Saturnalia, and this is Corruption. And so I did Corruption sort of on my cheek and toward my temple, and then right on the apples I did Saturnalia. So that is what's on my cheek. I also did some Skin Show Divine Glow, highlighting down my nose, on my Cupid's bow, and a little on my chin. And then on my lips, I used one of her matte trance shadows. This is Divine Brown. This is from her, I bought a lot of her lipsticks during her summer sale. So 50% off, can't beat that. Pretty box. So Divine Brown is on my lips. And that is my Pat McGrath face. I love it. I love this quad. That blue is crazy. Blue is my favorite color. But yes, this is my Pat McGrath face. So those are three of my favorite Black women-owned beauty brands. So yes, Pat McGrath, her lovely Celestial Divinity palette that she released for the holidays, and these quads, fabulous. And the box for the quad is very cool. Love it. So that is what's on my face. But I also bought some books, so I want to show you those next. Okay, so now I want to focus on some books, some of my favorite books that I've acquired over this COVID stay-at-home, order everything through the mail, don't go into stores situation. But first I want to focus on I want to highlight a book that is a few years old, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about it because it is my book, Seeing in the Dark, Wisdom Works by Black Women in Depth Psychology. I'm the editor, and it contains my work and the work of 5 other Black women depth psychologists. For those of you who are not familiar, depth psychology is in the most simplest terms, it's the psychology of the unconscious. Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung are two of the fathers, European fathers. However, their work is informed by their study of other cultures. Jung, especially, studied many other indigenous cultures, African, Native American, Asian, and that informed a lot of his work and a lot of his theories. And so we are depth psychologists, and in 2017, a Black woman-owned publisher, the Malibu Press, so graciously agreed to publish our book. There is the Malibu Press logo. And we have done we've done book signings, we've done presentations. Our most recent presentation was October 31st with the Jung Institute of Los Angeles. And so we're just very happy that the book has been resonating with people for the past 3 years, and that it has added to the broader discussion of particularly race and culture in the practice of psychology. I won't go into detail, but yes, please check this book out. You can go to themalibupress.com and order it. That link will take you to the Amazon site. So you can go straight to Amazon. Just Google the title, Seeing in the Dark, Wisdom Works by Black Women in Depth Psychology, and we'd appreciate that support very much. So thank you very much. But for books that were actually published this year, 2020, another book I want to highlight is this fabulous book published by Peter Lang, Teaching Daughters of the Dust as a Womanist Film and the Black Arts Aesthetic of Julie Dash, of filmmaker Julie Dash, edited by Patricia Williams Lessane. The reason I'm highlighting this is, number one, it's fabulous. Dr. Lessane is fabulous. Julie Dash is fabulous. Daughters of the Dust is historic, a seminal film that everyone must see, but also, yes, because I have work in this book as well. So there are, I believe, 12 or 13 authors in this book. My chapter is chapter 7, Conscious Daughters, Psychological Migration, Individuation, and the Declaration of Black Female Identity in Daughters of the Dust. And so I will just read a little bit so you know what this is about. Carl Jung compares the psychological process of individuation, the identity-shaping process wherein we realize our full self, to a journey. Similarly, journalist and essayist Greg Tate describes African Americans as nomadic souls who live our identity in a middle passage. On the dedication page of Daughters of the Dust, The Making of an African American Women's Film by Julie Dash, Dash quotes Jung, quote, "Every woman extends backward into her mother and forward into her daughter." And so it was perfect that Julie Dash found some relevance and resonance in a Jungian quote. And so my chapter basically gives a Jungian read, or a Jungian, I don't want to say interpretation, because that would imply that there's only one meaning to be found, but it certainly looks at the film through a Jungian lens. And so please check out this book, Peter Lang Publishing. You can Google it, you can get it through Amazon as well. I'm sorry to keep mentioning Amazon. If you can buy it, if you can order it through an independent bookstore, that would be even better, a Black-owned bookstore. I love Esalen Books. That's all I'm saying. There's also Sankofa Books in Washington, D.C., Uncle Bobby's in Philly. But yes, call around to any independent or Black-owned bookstores you know, and if they don't have it, ask if they can order it for you. Definitely. Another book that is not new, but it's new to me, as in I just bought it. I ordered this through Black Classic Press. If you are familiar with Ta-Nehisi Coates, his father, Paul Coates, has been publishing books for decades. And so I bought this from Black Classic Press. The Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Cushite Empire by Drusilla, Dunjee Houston. This book was brought to my attention by two of my favorite scholars, Dr. Solange Ashby, who is actually the first and only, to date, woman with a PhD in Egyptology, and one of her colleagues who I was introduced to through another friend, Dr. Salim Faraji. They mentioned this during one of Dr. Ashby's presentations, and so I can't wait to get into it. Let me just read a little bit of what Drusilla Dunjee Houston writes. Out of anthropology, ethnology, geology, paleontology, archaeology, as well as history, I have dug up an irrefutable arsenal of facts that Harvard or Yale or cowardly scholarship in our race dare not refute. How can a leadership point the forward way that is utterly ignorant of the past? And so this is a deep dive into unknown African history, or if not unknown, certainly silenced, if not excised from the historical record. And so I love books that bring to us more of our African history. So Dr. Solange Ashby's book is another book I purchased recently in the past months, Calling Out to Isis, The Enduring Nubian Presence at Philae. This is published by Gorgias Press, Gorgias Press. So you can order it straight from Gorgias, or you can order it through your favorite independent bookstore if they will do that. But this is her, the fruits of her doctoral dissertation. Seminal, I think, book showing, demonstrating Nubian culture's reverence of the goddess Isis or Aset. And she speaks about it in many different contexts. I've attended at least 3 of her lectures online so far, and I can't wait to to attend more. But yes, if you are interested in ancient Egyptian or ancient Kemetic culture, please check out Dr. Ashby's work and look for some of her presentations and seminars online. And another seminar online that I attended was the seminar on Ntozake Shange. Ntozake Shange, as you may know, wrote the seminal work for colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. And posthumously, her estate published this Dance We Do. A poet explores Black dance. So Ntozake Shange not only was a prolific playwright, but she was also a dancer. And so for colored girls, her stage production included dance was just as important. The movement of the body was just as important as the poem, the choreo poem that we've come to know and have recited, I'm sure. And so Ntozake Shange is also my sister alumna. We both went to Barnard College. She is class of 70, I believe. I'll put the correct year if I'm wrong. I'm class of 1985. But there was a recent online symposium around this hosted by Barnard. And so, of course, I got this book right away and can't wait to get into it. One of the speakers in that symposium was another educator, Halifu Osumare, who's also a dancer, but she's Ntozake Shange's mentor and dance instructor. And so Dancing in Blackness, a Memoir, is another book I recently bought after hearing Dr. Osumare speak. And I said, oh, I need to get that book. Another reason I bought Dr. Osumare's book is because of my work on Zora Neale Hurston, who incorporated similar aspects in her work: anthropology, culture, dance, staging plays that included music and cultural aspects of the African diaspora. And so if you are inclined, please also purchase or look for my doctoral dissertation. It can be purchased through ProQuest. The title is The Fire That Genius Brings: Creativity and the Unhealed Companionship Between Zora Neale Hurston and Langston Hughes. There is a clip of my doctoral dissertation defense on this channel, and I'll include the link below. Okay? So those are a few of my favorite books. Please, they're not all published by Black women, but they are all by Black women. And so please support Buy From a Black Woman Awareness Month by supporting all these works, these products, and search out more small Black women-owned businesses. And we all thank you for your support.